surprise, everyone!
Ayan. Hello, hello, hello.
Hi guys! So we were having a little bit of difficulty with our signals and ayun, so surprise
Surprise!
on the screen right now our cat and Ate D. Hi guys!
Bakit
Yeah,
kayo
so
nandito?
again-
Joke lang.
Dito, bigla kayo.
Ano ginawa nyo kay Ate Wen tsaka Kuya lang?
Yeah, so, Charles, hi again. Welcome to, ayun, hindi ko pala yung grupo. Sorry guys, ha. Medyo having difficulty with the, setup lang. So, again, welcome to Books and Chicas. Facebook Live interview with another special guest for tonight. For everyone's information, this will be our season ender for season 3 na ba tayo? Wow,
Yes,
may
season
pa-season. Oo, season 3. Season ender din natin today. It's our 8th episode for season 3. And tonight, with us are two beautiful ladies from Akdang Pinoy and the Filipino Shelf joining us tonight kasi Wen and Locke won't be able to join us. Our partners from Books From Us kasi they're having some work commitments. So, it's me and Chard from Book Chicas, and we have Kat and Ate D. Hi! Gulat ba lahat?
Hello! Hello! So happy to be here. Thank you, Chickas.
Thank you for inviting us. Yay! Nakakakabahan na kami.
At kilig na kilig.
Oh, it's so exciting kasi we just had our book tour for this book, WTF, Women Turning 50 by Miss Marga Ortigas. So, the Filipino Shelf and Book Chicas PH have partnered with Penguin Random House C for this in support of Miss Marga Ortigas' new book, WTF. Ayun! So excited. So of course, binyagan na natin si Kat. Binyagan. So Kat, we're giving the stage to you to introduce our guest for tonight.
Okay, hello. So first of all, naririnig niyo ba ako? Hindi ako sure. Okay. So hello, thank you again to Book Chicas for giving us the opportunity, and I am so honored to introduce our guest speaker. Meron ako konti ko dito, my notebook for the night. So Miss Marga Ortigas has traveled the world as a journalist for 3 decades with a career spanning 5 continents and 2 largest global news networks. After getting her start in the Philippines, she joined CNN in London, working across Europe and covering the war in Iraq from its inception. In 2006, she returned to Manila and the Asia Pacific region, reporting from the front lines of armed conflicts and climate change as senior correspondent of Al Jazeera. Her extensive coverage of the Muslim rebellion in the Philippines was recognized by the International Committee of the Red Cross for Humanitarian Reporting. A British Council traveling scholar, Ortigas earned her MA in Literature and Criticism at the University of Greenwich. She speaks 3 languages and is the editor of I, Migrant, an online platform which showcases writing from the diaspora, advocating a universal humanity beneath people's differences. So everybody, let's welcome Miss Marga Ortigas.
Hi, thank you for having me and thank you for the invite.
Good evening,
Nice
Miss
to see you all.
Marga.
Good evening to all of you.
Good evening po.
Good
Yes,
evening. Huwag niyo na akong ikaw.
parang, it's just so exciting kasi para yung activity natin revolves starting from doing this book giveaway for the new book, your new book, and then
Yes.
Book Chicas hosted the book tour. And also next is with the Filipino chef. And then now, parang finale ng ng activities for this book is our
Correct.
live interview with Food Tonight. So again, thank you so much,
Thank
and thank you din sa
you.
Penguin Random House C for this partnership with Akdang Pinoy, Book Chicas, and the Filipino Shelf.
Thank you so much. I'm just so glad there's so many book clubs and groups like yours, in the country that are reading and reading together and then making the space to discuss it pa.
Oh,
So that's great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, then, Miss Marga, for gracing us with your presence tonight. And aside from the WTF woman turning 50, right now the four of us are experiencing WTF as well. Worry turned to fun. So,
oh,
and
wow,
we're really
that's
excited
good.
to start this interview. Woo!
Pinag-isipan
I'll
niya
make
yun, ha, Tad?
Kinaya ko yun. Kinaya ko yun, guys.
Correct.
Sige, so let's kick off with the first question muna. So, Miss Marga, you've worked as a journalist covering big events around the world. And with that kind of experience, how did that kind of storytelling help you when you started writing more personal things such as WTF Woman Turning 50?
Actually, going out and seeing what's happening everywhere in the world gives you the perspective that what is actually out there isn't so different from what's going on inside you. That there is an underlying universality to all of us. We are all, no matter what religion, no matter what race, no matter what ethnicity or citizenship, nationality, anything of that sort, we are all afraid of something. We all want something, right? And we all love something. And if you remember that, then you realize that everybody you meet is a brother or a sister. You're all the same. There is no gulf between you unless you construct it. So I learned that going out there to all the different places that Al Jazeera and CNN and the news organizations I worked for sent me to, only to discover that everybody out there is just like me. And there are more things that we have in common than we have that are different. And anything that we might have that is different is superficial. So, knowing that, the way I then approached writing more personal stories is understanding that the people I am talking to will be able to find some commonality with what I have to say. So, when I approach the writing, I always keep that in mind that I am talking to somebody who might be reading this in the farthest reaches of Colombia, for example, or someone in Mexico that doesn't exactly understand what I'm talking about in terms of culture, but I can explain it in such a way that I can hopefully bridge whatever superficial divide there might be. So that's I guess how the two have come together.
Wow, thank you, Miss Marga. And of course, as your reader and as your fan, I definitely experienced that kind of uh, feeling being seen and validated. And speaking of universality and that we're all brothers and sisters to each other, your book WTF, it has shown even more the vulnerable parts of you, and we're curious. What's the process of you choosing which stories to include, or which stories you decided to pause, wait, or just
I,
altogether?
I, I gotta be honest with you. Maybe a few weeks before the deadline that I had with the publisher, I reread what I had and said, why am I putting this out there? I was like, oh my gosh. It's like, do I completely want to tank any opportunity I might have for another book to come out after this? It was, because you think, who's going to take me seriously? Who's going to want to read about the sadness of some, woman in her middle age, right, is going through. Who cares? So yeah, that definitely went through my head. I was already composing the email I would send the publisher, apologizing for not making the deadline and pulling the book and telling her I thought this was completely nuts. And then I gave it to a few of my trusted, the closest friends and all of that, and family members to kind of read it and see if they said, are you insane? You know what I mean? But fortunately, And even with the intergenerational, it might seem like you're writing just for middle-aged women. And hopefully you guys have found that it's not just talking to women of a certain age, or indeed just women. What I wanted to do was reach out to people who might be going through some sort of change or some sort of difficult moment in their lives. And fortunately, that was the response I was getting. People were going, no, no, you got to put this out there because, and they all took something different from it. So for that alone, I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. I sent the book in, and I thought the editor that I had, who I was working with, I trust completely. She edited all the books I have with Penguin. I think she's absolutely brilliant. She's a Malaysian woman named Thatcha. And I thought if anybody was going to tell me I was crazy, it was going to be her. And if Thatcha didn't tell me I was crazy, then the book was going to be fine. And fortunately, Thatcha didn't tell me I was crazy. And so now you have the book out there. But I did really, really consider not sending it in. Yes.
Thank you for giving that shot.
Yes,
Thank you.
we're thankful for that.
I mean, yung general response with this book that I have with me when we had this, because we had this buddy reading session for the book, for all the participants of the book tour ng book Chicas. And then, it's super fun yung discussion namin sa group chat because super relatable and parang may aha moments, daming aha moments, and then, and then parang biglang, uy, parang natamaan ako bigla. Miss Marga, sinong umaway nag-away sa'yo? Yung gano'n. So, super daming emotions na ilabas from this book. And, talaga yung response namin, super fun. As a non-fic girly, hindi ako mahilig sa non-fic kasi, but this was exceptional for me. The story is,
Wow.
the book was exceptional. So, thank you for
Thank
this
you.
one. Super excited.
No, I
And,
appreciate that. Talaga.
thank you. So yeah, so talking about because we're talking about the book pa rin with women turning 50, and at this stage, what does reinventing yourself mean to you now at the age you're in? And then
Kasi when you're younger, diba, you think you have a clear path ahead of you. I mean, at least, somebody from my generation X, it was clearer pa then eh. Diba, you went to high school, then you went to college, and then you probably got a work internship, but you had sort of a career path ahead or in mind, or, you dream of where you're going to go. But the world isn't like that anymore. And there's no such thing as a 9 to 5 job after college, because jobs aren't contained in an office anymore. Or indeed, you don't have to be behind the desk. Diba? You can work from anywhere. You can work just using your phone. The rules have changed in that there are no more rules, and people are making it up for themselves as they go along. So for me to parang be able to let go of that concept of, I was a journalist for 30 years and then suddenly I had to stop. I was too tired. My body just couldn't hack it anymore. And then you think, well, this is all I've been doing. Like, this is all I know how to do. Where do you go from here? And I just listened to my gut at that stage, and I, had planned for it a little bit. With my savings, I thought, okay, just pause. Give yourself permission to pause. And I did. And then slowly after that, it was like, okay, now what? And trusting your gut every step of the way. You wake up every morning knowing that it's a blank slate and that you have the power to create that day for yourself. So it's almost like every morning is a possibility for reinvention. So that's what that pause gave me, because there was no more structured path ahead. In short, I have no idea what's going to come next. I could be completely lost, but I'm taking it as I can see as far as the next footstep. And that means I'm going to be okay. So.
Nastan ako doon.
Yeah.
Hindi
That's
nga
so
parang
inspiring.
We all feel that.
I
let
feel so
go of
inspired right now.
yourself. So agree yung
Oh
parang
my God.
you learn to unlearn and then learn a
Correct.
different one. Create
Correct.
your own rules. Oh my God.
Correct.
See, parang it's just when we're talking to Miss Marga right now, with Miss Marga right now, it's parang it's the same feel when you read her book na Women
Yeah.
Turning 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just
that's
like
good.
nasasikahan ka lang with a friend, with
Magka-therapist na lang ba
nagmamarites.
ako? Gano'n na lang. Baka yun yung aking next path pala, no?
Opo.
Big sister energy.
Oh,
I
Oo.
like it.
Yeah, that's one
yes,
that comes from one of the reviews. Yeah, that's so true.
mm. So we have a question from the
Maybe you
audience.
should start your own podcast.
Ayun,
Oo nga.
yes.
Your own podcast is
You know, I had a podcast. That was one of the things I
about your
did
music.
after I quit working with a news channel. But when the writing of the book started, I kind of had to stop that for a little bit because, yeah, I just kind of ran out of time, you know. But, you know, baka ngayon magde-dear, parang, I don't know if you guys will remember, di ba? May Dear Kuya Eddie or Ate Helen, you know, yung mga,
Dear Ate
what do I
Sharon.
do after
Dear Ate
college?
Marga.
Correct.
I love that. Oh my gosh. Exciting. Exciting.
Yeah, so right now, let's check first the questions from the audience. Again, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We have Tita Claire, Bana, our viewers from Book Chicas. Chandra is here. Uy, Ate D, andyan ka, nag-comment. So, hi. Sai is here, also joining us. We also have Keith. And then, so we have a question from Bana. So I think this is related to your book then because you talk about your favorite may pamaypay, your duster, mga ganun topics of this one. The question is, what's your favorite haplas daw? Ano ba yung haplas, ointment?
Ointment.
Kating
Alam
ko ba?
mo, yung pinsan ko once gave me, I'd never heard of it, woodlock oil.
Oh,
It's more potent yung amoy than wild. It's parang if you had white flower and tiger balm and you combine it, ganun kabaho. Pero now, it's become so comforting na when I smell it pa lang, I feel better na. But then, somebody gave me Katingko roll-on a few months ago. First time I ever
yes.
saw it. May roll-on pala, ang galing. So ngayon, laging nasa bag ko yun.
Yeah, like,
Correct.
Ganda si
Yan.
Fritz.
I mean, it was
Oo,
like the
yan,
best
ganyan.
discovery ever. Who knew? Kasi, diba, with the other ointments, you put it in your hand, then your hand will get mabaho. Tapos, it will sting pa.
Yeah.
You can't rub your eye. But with the Katingko roll-on, naging parang commercial. With the Katingko roll-on, ang galing. Konting ganyan lang, mawawala na yung headache mo, diba? Oh, diba? Hi,
So
Katingko.
true.
I'm available. Then, joke. Hindi na ako sa news, so pwede na ako mag-endorse. Then, joke. I'm joking.
Yes, thank you, Miss Marga. So yes, ano yun, kating ko guys. Agree. Oh, Wendy's here. Hi, Wen.
Hatawen.
Ayun. So, let me read the messages from the audience. Won't be able, nasa on-site me. Watch the recording later. Thanks, Kid. I'm inspired to get my first proper duster. Oh, di ba? I also don't have a duster, pero parang, okay, why not try?
Subukan na.
You know,
That's the
the
review.
best dusters. Okay. Do they want to know where to get a duster? Is that the question? Or no? I'll keep quiet muna.
Yes, please. Why
Okay.
not?
No, the
Share.
best
Ano?
dusters I ever got were actually inherited from my mother. Truth. And my mother was obsessed with dusters. So she had just bags and bags and bags of dusters. And she always liked to keep them. So no matter how old they got, it was still in her closet. So when she passed away, I discovered all of her dusters. Even the ones with the holes. Pinaayos ko na lang. And those are the ones that I wear. I think they're from Cebu, if I'm not mistaken. They're parang, the big flowing things na parang just past your knee. Tapos the top is ganchillo. It's ganchillo, parang down to here yung sleeves. Parang Cebu eh. She used to get them from a lady who would make them herself. And then after that, friends had given me, I discovered some in Green Hills. There by the Changi. But again,
Sleeveless, yung tank top.
yes,
or
the sleeve, the one from the Changi, I got the sleeveless ones, tapos para siyang tent.
so comfy.
Diba? Basta dapat parang tent. Yung walang waistline, walang, ganyan.
The one I
Ganyan.
use yung
Dapat
batik
ganon.
once eh. Batik yung ginamit ko last time.
Oo. Oo. Basta hindi siya mahaba. Kasi yung
Yeah.
masyadong mahaba,
And then,
mumuna yun eh. Di ba? Yeah.
okay.
Correct.
Let's all get our dusters. That's very
O, di
comfortable.
ba?
Yeah.
There are different levels. May mumu, may kaftan, may duster. Iba ang
Oo.
duster.
Cute.
Oh, wow. Grabe, duster. Amazing. Thank you. Ayun,
You're
from Tita
welcome.
Claire, I could almost hear Marga speaking while reading the book. So true. Tama. And
Hi,
then,
Claire.
Marga
Yeah.
making the pie. Oh, yes. Ito, I so agree with Tita Claire. Marga making the pie and duster cool again.
Yeah.
Totoo.
The hype. Super hype. So true. Ano,
Yes.
Gen Z
Gatito
ngayon kasi yung
Supremacy.
ginagamit nila yung electronic, di ba? The one that's powered
Oo.
by USB.
Oo.
Alam mo, isa pa yon, confession. Binigyan ako ng kapatid ko. Sabi niya, napapagod na ako sa mga paypay mo. So she gave me the new one, the little electronic one, and I have to admit, masarap siya. Kasi hindi na ako napapagod. And you can just put it on the table and wow, para na akong Bollywood star. 'Di ba? Kumagano na yung hair eh.
Yeah, so,
O yan, correct. Exactly like that.
Pero di ba, Miss Marga, pag paypay kasi, nagbe-benefit yung katabi mo. Pero pag
Correct.
that's
Oo,
only for
hindi
you.
nga. You're right. You're absolutely right. It is more giving to use the paypay.
It's more giving.
Because
Diba?
it's
Ano
big.
ba yung
Yeah.
Correct.
neck
Correct.
band?
The one that doubles as a hat. Have you ever used that?
You know, I tried it. It was weird. Di ko kinaya. Di ko kinaya yun. Yung may yung ganon din. That's a bridge too far.
So yeah, this is preview, guys. When you read the book, parang ganito lang yung setting natin.
Oo.
Ang saya. Parang informal chikahan, and then, the sharing, everything just comes out na, uy, pero I know this, I relate to this, and then biglang, magdala-drama na ba tayo ngayon? Charot. Doon na ba tayo sa point?
Sabi ni Cristelo, ni Tet, sabi niya, I'm inspired to be a
Oo.
tita now na.
That's nice.
Everything is cool.
True.
Thanks, Teton. Here, there's another question from Tita Claire. Was there a chapter that was difficult to write? And which chapter was a breeze to write and that you love reading again and again?
Do you know that ever since the book came out, I haven't reread it. But I think it's a thing I do with all my books. Once it's out, I don't want to reread in case I find a typo or in case I find parang, some mistake in the way it's formatted or biglang, ay shucks, I should have put it like this pala. Why did I write it like that? So I haven't reread the book since it's come out. There were a lot of the chapters obviously that dealt with grief were difficult to reread because it just revives the grief that, once it's sleeping, you kind of want to let it sleep for a little bit. And then when you read the chapter again, it brings it up all over again. Right. I think you can also tell which chapters came out fast because there were chapters that seemed like they were rambling, but I wanted to leave some of them in there precisely to make the point that there are moments when you are sitting down to write that you begin in one place and you end up someplace completely different, but it's usually exactly where you're meant to end up. So I left those in there to kind of say it's okay to think you don't know where you're going because you're going to get to the point you need to get to. So there's that. And then there are chapters that are very, very
So
short,
good.
right? That seem just like bleh. Parang you just vomited on the page. And usually they were rantings, like my rant about LinkedIn, which is, I didn't even think about that one. Not just it's like, you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know if that's how you guys felt reading it, like which ones seemed like they came out faster than the others, but yeah.
Thanks, Ms. Marga. Yun. So if you have more questions to ask, just comment lang sa comment section natin. And then, before we continue with our questions, we will do a book giveaway as if no basa kayo sa captions namin sa post is we will be having we will draw the winner for a physical copy of Miss Marga's book. Sino ba yung nag-participate, Chard?
Ayun. So right now we
Again, thank
have
you to Penguin C for this one.
Yun. Thank you, Penguin C. Right now, those who followed the caption and qualified for the giveaway are Bana Easy Books, who is Bana from Book Chicas, Biblio B, who is Mommy Billy from Book Chicas. Ang daming Book Chicas ah. I am Teteru, who is Tetol from Book Chicas, RP.Reads, who is RP from Book Chicas as well. We have Read with Jelly. We have Wonders Between Pages, who is Rose from Book Chicas as well. We have Chandra Reads, who is Chandra from Gen Z Book Club. We have Seiya and Her Words. And we have Tita Claire. Ayan. Andito yung mga pangalan nila sa Wheel of Names. Ay, ginawa kong ×2 yung pangalan para mas exciting.
Uy, wow! Spin a wheel talaga siya. Oh.
Yes, spin a wheel talaga siya. So, shall we draw the names na, Fritz? Handa na bang drum roll mo? Ayan, drum roll. Nag-drum roll na si Tito Dio. Sige, draw the name now. Yun. And the
Wow, that's so cool.
winner
Okay.
is... Ay, hindi ko makita. Si Chandra! Chandra Reed! Congrats, Chandra!
Thank you, Chandra.
Congrats, Chandra.
Congrats, Chandra laging bunot. Napansin ko.
Ayan.
Thank you.
Chandra is also is an admin of a book club din, di ba? Gen Z Book Club.
Gen
Tama
Z
ba?
Book Club.
Ooh.
Yeah, so dumarami na yung
Yay!
book clubs here.
And Gen Z readers have enjoyed the book.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, they rave
I'm
about
glad.
Yay!
At least tita energy,
Yeah.
hindi lola. Okay na yun. Okay na ako dun sa tita. Okay na. Go.
Ayun.
Yeah, so again, thank
Ayun.
you for
Congrats,
joining.
Chandra laging bunot talaga the best. Yay! Ba't hindi ka namin kasali? Charot lang. Tapos may pangalan namin ni Tita Rosa. Wala, hindi namin. Anyway, so continuing on our questions for Miss Marga. So, you focus on telling stories that connect people with the kind of like different stories. Actually, I haven't read po WTF, so hindi ako kasali doon sa lineup namin for the Filipino shelf because limited lang yung slot and we want to give it to our readers. But I've read the Falling Stars in China this year. Alam ni Tita Diana at ni Tita Claire yan kung gano'n as in super love ko yung the Falling Stars in China. And that's one of my favorite reads of the year. And I am also very curious then on what kind of stories do you enjoy the most and what draws you to them? Like, from different, siguro kahit saan pong perspectives, running about WTF and other things.
You know, it's always been the same thing. Even when I was working as a journalist, it's like sitting down and getting to know someone. So any story, really, at the end of the day, is a personal story. Even the biggest news headline about a war, about a famine, about an earthquake is a personal story. And so one thing we learned very early on as young reporters is you have to put a face to the big news headline. Because until you can do that, it will leave the viewer cold. The person watching the news story is not gonna care. So it's always about personalizing it. And by that, I don't mean the reporter has to talk about themselves. I mean, find the person that's actually affected by what's happened. And so that's the way I covered the news, and that's the way I carry on with anything I do, really. So even in writing, be it writing about a fictional story or writing nonfiction, I always have that in the back of my head. It's you're talking to an individual and you're talking about an individual. And yet those individuals will at some stage be able to understand each other. So I think the job of the storyteller is to fill in those gaps and to find a way to create that bridge. So yeah, that's... Hi, hello.
Parang gusto ko na lang po
Di
magsalita pa po kayo.
nakaka-picture.
Actually
Gusto ko po
talaga,
makinig lang sa inyo.
as in
Bigyan
yan,
niyo ba ng transcript after para maalala ko?
Nakaka-stress.
Hindi, joke.
for the next book. Yeah,
Go,
totoo
Tita
kasi
D.
talaga I strongly connected with all the stories and
Thank you.
different genres, no? And speaking of personalizing it and parang like talking to you, talagang the both of the nonfiction, marami ako natutunan and marami rin talaga na parang like you go back to those to those references na na-cover ng mga story. And at the same time, magkaiba rin yung tone ng dalawa. But I talked about this a lot, di ba, no, when I was in this very same platform. And now, yeah, we'll rave more about this book. But a lot of the things here, yeah, involves getting back to her experiences, the young journalist, and then 10 years, 20 years after in different settings, no? And siguro after writing all these books and having all those reflections and essays, uh, and if you could talk to your younger self, that's also a trend, di ba? Gen Z trend din yun na
Yeah.
parang talking to your younger self. But yeah, that's a question, Miss Marga. If you will go back and talk to your younger self, what would you tell her? Kasi just a story, no? Kasi this
Yeah.
is been very affirming. I love this book, but at the same time, parang naisip ko, how are you? How are you managing all of these experiences and lessons? And then this book, and it pretty much like enlightened me and I
Right.
got to know you more. So, what would you tell your younger self, having that kind of rich experience?
Enjoy the moment. Be in the present, because I spent so much time when I was younger worrying about the future or being concerned about what happened in the past. So I think if there was anything I could go back and do is enjoy exactly where I was at every step of the way. Because then I probably would have remembered more things, and There Are No Falling Stars would have been twice the length it was, or something like that. But that's why now every day I try to remind myself, enjoy where you are, enjoy where you are, put the phone down, don't watch the TV, watch the sunset. When I walk on the streets, I'm walking on the streets. You see so many people walking, looking at their phone. Aside from being a safety hazard, I mean, really, look around you. Diba? See what's going on. Appreciate the trees. Appreciate the heat, even though that's very difficult these days. Bring a pie, But it's that. Enjoy where you are, because there will be time enough later to worry about the future when you're in the future. Right now, enjoy this. So I would say that to anybody at whatever age you are.
Thank you.
Naiyak na ata si Chard.
Thank you for that great reminder.
Oo.
Kasi 'di ba yung
Tara,
pandemic
kape
din,
tayo.
it affected a lot of our mental health. No, parang
Yes.
it's a great reminder. And
Yeah.
yeah, if
Mhm.
yung mga babasa ng mga books na to, that's a very rich lesson to take away from Miss Marga. Thank you for that reminder.
Thank you.
Oo, tara kape tayo. Parang
Tara!
kailangan pa natin ng mga bagong usapan. Miss Marga, talking about this book, of your book, no, it's a catchy title. How did you
Yes.
come up with it, and what does it really mean in the context of the book? Bakit ito yung title? Kasi pag hindi mo babasahin yung maliit na font sa
Correct.
baba, uy,
Correct.
gulat ka, ano?
Exactly. That was precisely the point. 'Di ba? Double meaning. Kasi you hit middle age and you're like, exactly that. WTF. Right? And then, buti na lang nag-fit yung woman turning 50. Kasi it could have also been woman turning 40.
Mm-mm.
Oh, dalawang F yun. Pero diba, as I was in the older age range, nilagay ko na yung 50 para at least, kasi hindi, weird pag 40 pa lang eh. Sige, 50 na natin. Diba? Level up. Diba? Parang ganon. But it was precisely that. I liked that whole double meaning. So when you just see the title, you parang, oh, tapos the title's like that, but then the drawing seems very almost naive and playful and innocent. 'Di ba? And that parang it's just a drawing and I wanted it to be rain clouds. So that whole kind of thing and yeah. So there was a simplicity to it, a sense of humor right away, so you wouldn't know what was inside, but at the same time you could kind of get a hint of the tone of the book. So yeah.
Thank you. Amazing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, nakakatuwa. Just a follow-up question and speaking about humor. Kasi talagang yun nga, I read this book. This is very heartfelt. Pareho naman, no? And this is very humorous. Sabi yung voice niyo, doon ko na-realize, wow, your sense of humor, panalong-panalo talaga. Hit na hit na across generations. Feeling ko, parang kumbaga, if you, kumbaga pasok, patok ang humor. But at the same time, I want to emphasize din sa mga babasa pa lang na sobrang contemplative pa rin. Yun nga eh. Ang dami mo talagang i-underline. And kahit na alam ko na medyo hindi pa ako ganun kasanay mag-annotate, I can't help but I want to really underline many of the lines that stick with me. But
Oh, that's great.
so
Yeah.
yung voice, you decided on that kind of a more light-hearted, humorous one than this because yeah, I also wrote in my review na you spoke a lot or imparted a lot of experience about your grief. But yeah, how did you decide on making this
I,
humor?
you know, I
Yeah.
it I didn't really worry about the voice. It was just whatever was authentic at the point I was writing whatever chapter it was. So that's why you'll see that the voice, it's constant in that the person speaking is the same, right? But the mood or the frame of mind might be different in different chapters. So you could see humor and then biglang, uy, it gets very contemplative, right? Because it's just the way one is at any given point. You could be sitting having coffee, writing something, and then you could begin feeling really good about the day, and then by the end, you're depressed. Diba? It's just the way it is. Because it's the same thing with No Falling Stars. You have chapters there that are quite just humorous. And then biglang, whoop, there's looking at war. Diba? And I think it's just life. It's a balance of all these things, and it's knowing how to navigate from one to the other without feeling like you're losing who you are, because it's all you, and you don't have to sacrifice one voice over the other. They all live inside you anyway, diba? So
Yeah, actually, the fact na parang these are entries, parang nakaka-inspire din siya for us to document what we're feeling right now. Di ba parang
yes, yes,
I don't know, hindi ko masustain magsulat ng journal or ng diary. Pero having something or reflections like this to look back on like 10 years down the road, di ba? Nakakatuwa, nakaka-inspire siya in that
yeah,
way too. Na mag-reflect din kami personally and write down our thoughts.
correct.
Yes.
No, and that's why I suggest, really, like, I'm going to do this event on Saturday, and it was suggested to me, like, don't just do a book launch, because don't just sit there and talk about the book, because it isn't really, I don't want it to be about me or my journey, but it's that all of us are going through a parallel thing. We're all on our own journeys, right? And so we're doing a book event which was inspired by WTF, but it's going to be a writing workshop, and it's really just going to be coffee and conversation, and I'll go through writing prompts, maybe trying to get people to talk about experiences, or even just how do you begin to write. You don't necessarily have to keep a daily journal, but you could, maybe as you're walking down the street, see a dog who is peeing on a fire hydrant, and that inspires something in you. Write it down, diba? Or even just sitting having coffee. I keep going back to sitting having coffee because I'm doing a lot of that these days. Pen and paper. And I always suggest pen and paper because it's still different when you process your thoughts, writing them down with pen and paper. There's a slowness, and there's more contemplation than if you're just type, 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 type. And it goes much faster like that. But there's also a little less time to maybe understand what it is you're feeling. And I know Tita Claire knows about this because she also does a lot of handwriting in a journal. So yeah, I agree. And see, there you go. Very good. Exactly. Diba? Iba eh. It still hits different. Oh, yun na. Naglabasan na ng journal. Yeah. Correct.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Nakaka-inspire po yan. Yan
Diba?
si Kato,
WTF.
yung mga
Words, thoughts, and
writers natin.
feelings. Oh.
Yeah, I'm
Thank you,
so
Kat.
sad. I can't go on Saturday.
Oo
I
nga.
wish Miss Marga. So like, I can't go.
Sayang.
But
Next
so
time.
near me,
Next
like
time.
a few minutes away from her.
Oo
But
nga.
yeah, there's next time. There's always next time. But I hope for all the
Awesome.
best for the launch or for the Agdan pala.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Thank you. I would say Ishani is watching us also right now, joining us in this live
Oh,
interview. Hi,
hello.
Ishani. Oh, so she has a question.
Hi,
Mm-hmm.
What
hi,
personal
Shani here.
What personal truth were you most afraid to confront while writing WTF, and how did facing it change you? Oh,
Oo
Miss
naman, ni
Universe po.
Shani. Is that from Shani?
Yeah.
Shani! Okay. Uh, maybe it was saying out loud that there were moments that I was afraid or that I was sad simply because that there wasn't even a reason I could think of, but that I was either going through a moment of depression or whatever it might be. Because, spending 30 years of your life as a journalist, that's the last thing you want to do is put out such vulnerable emotions out there, right? Especially when you're talking about it in relation to the work that you were doing, because you don't want to come across as too emotional or even worse, be seen as weak. I'm not saying you're weak. I'm just saying be seen as weak because unfortunately, we still live in a society where any kind of emotion is seen as a weakness, right? Uh, but emotion that is soft. I won't go into like anger or things like that, but a softer emotion is seen as weak. So confronting that in the writing, I also realized it was freeing to let it go. And that at the end of it, when I got to the end of the sentence or the end of the paragraph, I was still okay because then I could pick up a pen and begin another chapter, and leave whatever it was in the chapter that passed. So that was a thing. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Wow. Amazing. So true with
Iyak na si
the
Ditch. Charles, don't cry.
I'm good.
Can you make the emojis of Richard's face? Kasi he keeps
Grabe expression ni Ditch right now.
and
Eh.
Sabi ni Tita
we
Claire,
have
most
another
annotated daw
question.
niya yung 165. Ito yung
yung alin?
Yes.
sa
Oo,
page
page
165. Ito yung
Oh,
Ah,
page
take ko sa kanya. Here's what
165.
I've learned here's what I've learned. Like a live news report, you can't rewrite your story. Only add to it.
Oh,
Oh,
Super dami ko
I
talaga
love that
natutunan.
line.
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah,
Love
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Okay, so here's another question from Bana. Can you compare your writing experience when working on fiction versus non-fiction?
I'll put it this way. I've enjoyed them both simply because I just enjoy writing. So if you give me anything to write, I will likely love it. Um, Nonfiction was easier in a sense that you just basically are spewing on the page. It's just coming out, it's just coming out, it's just coming out, and you're shaping it as it comes out. With fiction, you're more considered because you have to kind of put out a plot or outline where it is you're going to go, because you have to carry your reader along from beginning to end of the story. Whereas the nonfiction was easier in the sense that you're just finishing chapters. It's almost like episodes, right? So as long as you get that episode done, then you're okay. You don't, you're not kind of looking at an overview of a bigger story. Although, really, when you think about it, that is exactly what you've also done, right? Even with the nonfiction, from beginning to end, it is still quite a story. But at the same time, you're trusting the reader to put it together for themselves. So, yeah. Yeah. So that would be the difference for me. Is that fiction, you take a little more time sorting it out before beginning to write. And with a nonfiction, sometimes you just have the idea. This chapter will be about this chapter will be about this, and then you just carry on. So, yeah.
Thank you,
Uh,
Bana, for the question.
yung
Thank you.
added question ko lang, Miss Marga, do you always intend to make your fiction books also part social commentary because you have your background as a journalist, or it's just like the top of your mind story?
Yeah, I didn't intend for it to be like that, and then it kind of just worked out like that. And then even now, where I had another novel kind of playing at the back of my mind. It's been there for the last 5, 6 years also. It's just that these other two came out first. But even that, when I sat down and I thought about it, I'm like, wait, it also has social commentary in it. Although I didn't plan it like that, but it seems that I find the personal in the social and vice versa. because I don't know, it's just the way I guess I'm used to telling stories, or the way I find that stories, the relevance of those stories comes out. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Miss Marga, I think many have read your book already, your WTF. So my question is, what kind of responses have you received from readers, or may something ba yung stand out na reaction towards the story that you shared that really stuck with you, yung mga
Well,
from the
the response
readers?
from all of you guys, I really wasn't expecting it. Especially with a lot of you being so much younger than the originally presumed readership age. Di ba? I wasn't expecting it. And there have been quite a few men readers. So I am so grateful for that, because that's also why I didn't want it kind of positioned solely for women of a certain age. I didn't want it to be about, I didn't want it to be positioned like it was a book about menopause, because as you all know, it is not. Because there's so much more to it than that, or than just female things. So I think the fact that it has found readers who are of the opposite gender, for me, I'm just glad that it's cross genders and it's cross generations. So I'm just grateful. I wasn't expecting this response at all. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Tapos biglang play sa Spotify yung steps.
Correct.
Biglang, throwback.
Baka biglang nagka-resurgence yung career ng steps, ha?
So baka comeback yung steps dahil kay Miss
Correct.
Marga.
Oo nga. Yeah, familiar ako sa mga songs
Correct.
noon.
Diba?
Nakakatuwa kasi
Yeah.
in the book niya, you made a lot of reference from the time when you lived in London. So, very, din yon, very transportive for us to look back on certain, na fangirling or tayo sa mga
Yes.
fans. Or,
Yeah.
although iba na yung generation ngayon, they have
Oo.
different
Iba.
ideas, but
Correct. Correct.
the feeling of excitement and how memorable that
Yeah.
period was.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So guys, do you have any more questions for Miss Marga before we wrap up this live interview? So lang, comment down sa ating comment section. And again, thank you for staying with us. And joining us sa Chikahan here. Pero feeling ko, with our previous interviews with with Tita Claire, Miss Samantha Soto, and now with Miss Marga, pero asarap nilang kasabay magkape together. Yung
Oo.
chikahan na parang non-stop and then super daming words of wisdom na grabe
Bakit
lang.
gawin natin
Ang
yan?
saya. Tara!
Gawin,
Tara,
tayo
friends.
dito sa Manila. Ay,
Yeah.
wala pala ako sa Manila ngayon. Punta tayo Manila.
Tara na sa CDO.
Kasi we're
I-
from Cagayan de Oro and Charles is in Cagayan de Oro right now.
Wow, okay.
But he's from so yeah, so malayo si Manila. So close yet so far. Ganun ang show.
Hmm.
Okay, so any more questions, guys? Kasi ako, I have another question. Maybe it's with regards to again on going through life transition. If someone's going through a life transition but feels unsure or afraid to start over, what would you say to them, Miss Marga?
For me, because as I learned from my grandmother, whatever your gut is telling you to do, ultimately that's the voice you have to listen to. Because at the end of the day, you can rationalize anything but what the gut is telling you. So if you think your logic is the right way to go, and you're thinking of 1 + 1 = 2, so dapat ganito, and I'm going to follow this, and you're rationalizing your way to doing something that you don't feel right about, don't do it. That's for me. No, I guess I'm of the blink philosophy as opposed to the think, because you can overthink, and in your overthinking you can talk yourself into doing something and be absolutely miserable later on. So if you are unsure, then pause. That's allowed. Don't do anything until you feel it. until you know one way or the other you should go left or right. And again, one step at a time. You don't need to know the end goal, just see as far as the next footstep. That's it.
Oh. Naiyak na ulit si Richard.
Gosh.
Marga,
Oo.
Okay.
pinapayak ka na
I
lagi.
Naguyak na talaga.
Parang ano, no, parang meron tayong steps and these pieces of advice we apply it from now.
Yes.
Parang very
Oh.
timely and to
Yeah.
all
As an
ages again.
overthinker, gano'n. Sobrang,
Oo.
Correct. Kasi
ang
we
daming
used to
reminders.
hear na think first, ganyan. Pero na kay Miss Marga, got
Mm.
feeling.
I don't know. For me,
So,
it's
titigilan
what's worked, and
oh,
it's what I found most helpful. So when it's nobody else's fault. At the end of the day, you're the only you have to live with you. That's it. You know.
oh.
Nagbabasa na naman si Diane ng chapter.
Kasi sobra, parang feeling ko hindi sinabi ko din sa review ko, this is not a guidebook, pero feeling ko yun nga, it's something that I will always revisit. Lalo na yung feeling ko, reminder to self, yung mga ganong lines. And how I interpret it, and how, ayan, from what I read. Ang dami eh. Actually, hindi na ako nagtatab kasi it will, ma-disrupt. So, I just underline. Galing.
Thank
May
you.
tanong yata si Tita Claire. Will you consider writing a part 2?
Uy.
Part 2. Nawala.
Nawala yung signal.
Ayun.
I heard
Ayun,
that
it's
part
back.
2
It's
if it
back.
comes. If it comes. I mean, if there's still interest, why not? There's a lot to be said. You know what I mean? I never run out of things to say.
Bring it
So,
on, Miss Marga. We're here.
Yes.
diba? LinkedIn pa lang yun eh. Let's go Facebook. Let's talk about X. But yes, I would love to. I guess maybe I should start. I've kind of paused in general because it's tiring then to get it all out. So I've given myself space to not write for a little bit, to get out of my own thoughts and get out of my own way, hopefully, and just appreciate what's around me, at least for a little while. And then I will probably back it now.
Oh, ay, guys, medyo, wait, naputol daw yung signal natin. Wait lang. Let me check. Nawala daw yung signal ng live.
I can hear you,
Kaya,
Kat, medyo blurred lang.
rinig naman.
Okay. Okay. I just want to ask for like future projects. Kasi, yun lang. Is there any future project? I know that
Future
the
projects.
WTF just came out, but do you have like, are you writing something right now? Or
We're seated.
excited kami sa other people?
Not at the moment. I haven't given myself. Kailangan ko munang kumayad maghanap ng day job. So I'm doing, projects that actually pay muna as opposed to, it's really sad. I don't mean to, but it's so sad that it's not like a lot of the writers who write books, right? Unless you're like somebody with an international bestseller of like Harry Potter, for example, you're not going to be able to unfortunately support yourself just on what you might earn from a book at all. So you always need something else that will pay you a salary or that will give you some sort of income to survive on. And right now, kind of like that's what I'm focusing on so that I can save again enough to be able to take the pause to write another book. So, but it's always there. I have like 3 or 4 different ideas in the back of my head that I've actually already put down in a grid. So it's already there. I just need to fill it in. Kumbaga, I just need to put the flesh on the bones.
Okay. So
It's there.
the way
Yeah.
that you write, you have like an idea first, and then you just fill in with the details.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you
sometimes like
for
it will
sharing.
come like that, like the characters will just come, and then I begin with the first chapter and it just starts to write itself. Like that's what happened with God's Ashes. It kind of it that was actually, I wrote that book faster than the first one, I think, because I was also more sure of myself as an author. So I knew what I was doing. I felt like I knew what I was doing a bit more, and I was more confident of what I was putting down on the page. Whereas with the very first novel, it took me 3 years because you agonize over every sentence, and then after that, at the end of the day, you'll go back and reread it, and then you'll tear it all up and start again. So it was not a good way to
Oh.
do that. But that's why it took so long. But I think the more you do it, the better practice you have at it. You're more sure of what it is you want to say, and you're more sure of your voice. Like if you second guess yourself a little less, then the writing gets easier in a sense. And then of course you have a good editor who will tell you, what the heck is this? So then at least there's another person who you can work with in that sense. And you're like, hey, why was it a little too out there? So that was good. And for that, I will always be grateful to Penguin because the editors that I got to work with, Thatcha in particular, structural editor, and Snea, who did the final edits, were very good. So
Thank you, Miss Marga.
thank
Grabe
you.
yung time. It's can't believe it's 9 a.m. na. Ay, 9 p.m. 9 a.m. And ang dami na nating na pag-usapan. And there's still so much more we want to talk about, no? And if you guys could grab a copy of Miss Marga's book, ayun,
Mas
mas
marami
marami
pang
pa kayong
tanong.
matutunan sa this one. And, so, Miss Marga, before we end this live interview, where can we get a copy of your books?
Well, fully booked National Bookstore have the three older tuloy, the three earlier books available already. I know that the fourth book is not yet on the shelves because it's on the way palang, but you can get it online already if you Google it. The distributor has it available on their website already, and that's available now. I can give you the link so that you can post it on your Facebook page. I've also been posting it on my Instagram, so you can go directly to them to be able to get the book, and it will be sent to you same day. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn with that, but I think it is pretty much same day. But the book is available. You don't even have to go into a bookstore and get dressed. You can be at home in your duster to order it, and it'll get sent to you.
Yes.
You can sit there with your pie and read it and enjoy. Diba?
While
Yes.
listening to steps. Again.
While listening to steps. Correct.
Yeah. So, okay. So, Miss Kat and Ate D, anything happening with the Filipino shelf and Akdang Pinoy you'd like to promote? Pinawala si Kat.
Oo nga, nawala.
Oo.
I think alam ko kung sinong signal provider niya. Alam na.
Go, Kat.
She's back.
Am I back?
She's back.
Ayun,
Hello.
hi Kat.
Sorry na wala kayong lahat bigla sa harapan ko. But anyway,
Yeah, so would you like to promote something
Akdang Pinoy
with
and the
regards to
Filipino
future
Shelf.
activities, upcoming
Yeah.
activities ni Akdang Pinoy and the Filipino Shelf?
With the Filipino Shelf, we still have ongoing tours. I think we just did, or not I think, we just finished a tour last week, which is Spectacles. And then by the 25th, we have another book tour. This is in collaboration again with our favorite Anvil. So I hope that you watch out for that. We are also very grateful pala. Sorry, I want to say we are so grateful to Penguin Random House Southeast Asia, to Ishani, to Miss
Yes.
Marga for collaborating with the Filipino Shelf, with WTF. We were talking about it, Tita D and I, and it is a dream come true for us because we love Miss Marga so much. So
Thank you.
we were so honored that we were able to do a collaboration with you, and we hope to do more in the future. And yun nga, mas ma-maximize natin itong platform na binigay sa atin. So yeah, so we're doing a few more tours. We are fully booked po until I think October or November. Hindi
Wow,
namin alam
galing.
kung paano namin schedule. But
That's
we're
great.
so
Yeah.
grateful. Thank you so much to Book Chickas. Grabe, sobrang like
You
Fritz
did.
and Richard. napaka-supportive. And we are so honored then to be invited for this. Nagulat actually, nag-isip ako, bakit tayo na-invite na itong mga tanong chicas? So realize ko, kasi ano tayo, OA tayo talaga mag-post about this Marga on social. So yun. We're so thankful and honored to be part of this live interview. Thank you, Chicas. Thank you so much to everyone, to the admins and everyone else. Ikaw, Tita, did you have something else to say?
Well, yun nga, keep posted for the upcoming tours, no? Katatapos lang na isa. Pero, again, yan, sobrang kilig ko nung magko-collaborate ang TFS sa WTF. Kasi when this was announced, sabi ko talagang gusto ko ng early copy. Kasi gusto ko talaga siya. Everything about it, the title and the blurb. Sabi ko gusto ko siya mabasa. And true enough, this book is for me. So thank you, Penguin Southeast Asia. And thank you kay Kat kasi we're huge fans of Miss Marga. Pero sabi niya, sige Tita D, ikaw na yung mag-join. Kasi we rotate among ourselves kung sino and then we give the rest of the slots to the others. So sa akin nila to binigay. And of course, ayun, I'm happy I made it to this, not only as a viewer, but thank you, Book Chicas, for inviting us. Kaya yan, haggard ako, nakalugay ako usually pag video. But ganito, naghilamos lang ako pag uwi at umabot ako. So thank you for inviting us. And thank you, Miss Marga, for
Thank you.
Guys.
Yes.
Galing sa bakasyon pa sila. Kat is still on her vacation right now. And
Yeah.
Ate D kakauwi lang. So, we're so thankful na you said yes to this invitation. Kasi before, you were our guest sa live interview. And now, you're on the opposite and the side na interviewing with us. And we're so happy to have you with us. And thank you for, stepping in. I think it's something that's so beautiful about this community. Na para tayong one big happy family kasi. So, it's so easy to feel the love from everyone, and then you need something, may willing to step in. So, ayun, heartwarming.
Thank you.
So, Chard, anything from Book Chicas?
Oo naman.
Tsaka lang, naiiyak ako ulit.
Wait, Char, emotional mo.
Hello to Books from us. Hello, Wen.
Yes, and always, and books from us. Na-miss namin kayo. Na-miss namin kayo. Super.
We miss you, Wen.
So hard.
Ano mo meron sa Book
Go, Chard.
This Saturday, Book Chicas will have our maybe OTM discussion. And for June, we will have our second anniversary, which will be held in Cebu.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Wow.
so we have an activity for the children, and also we have
That's great.
for the readers as well.
Galing.
So
Galing.
it's a 2-day activity in Cebu, and we are also we would also like to thank everyone from our members and to everyone who supported us kasi we were able to generate funds for the outreach program. It's around 10,000 plus. So again, thank you guys kasi we will be able to buy hygiene kits and school
nice.
supplies for the kids and loot bags din for fun. So ayun, nakaka-excite lang. So looking forward to that activity. So yay! So to Miss Marga, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Thank you. And more power to you guys. You guys are doing a great thing. So thank you for having me be part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories, your insights, and your beautiful honesty. So salamat, Miss Marga.
Thank you.
That's
Salamat sa inyo.
Yun. And to everyone who are watching, who are with us tonight for this live interview, thank you guys. Again, see you next time. It's our season ender, but we'll be back soon. Maybe in July or August. So, we'll just take a break first kasi we will be focusing on the activities ng Book Chicas and then si Books from us din. So, ayun. See you again soon and such a wonderful season ender. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, Kat. Thank you, Miss Marga. Thank you, Fritz. Thank you,
Thank you
Anne.
all.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Miss
Have
Marga.
a
Good
great night,
night.
everyone.
Yes.